My nephew was born with 2 complete reproductive systems. The doctors of the hospital laid it out clearly for us, advising that he undergo surgery to keep one and remove the other, because his male anatomy was much more developed. Medically, that was the logical choice. But my sister-in-law, Suelan, immediately pushed back. She always wanted a girl, insisting that raising a daughter was a jackpot. In my past life, I was the one who spoke up. I told them that his male system was fully developed and that we needed to respect the boy's own wishes. Because of my advice, he chose to remain a man. But fast forward to his college graduation. The job market was brutal. He couldn't find a decent living, and he couldn't afford to get married. That's when Suelan started whispering poison into his ear. She told him, "It's all your aunt's fault. If it weren't for her, I would have turned you into a girl. Girls have it so easy these days. You could have just married rich, stayed at home, and lived like a queen instead of breaking your back out here." My nephew grew to hate me with a passion. One day, he tricked me into going up to the roof of a high-rise building and pushed me right off the edge. But now I am back. I woke up right on the day we were all sitting in the hospital consultation room, staring at the medical reports. The doctor looked at us and explained that the surgery was necessary to choose one system, and from a developmental standpoint, the male one was far more mature. Suelan didn't care about science. She leaned in and asked, "Doctor, wouldn't it be better to choose the female one? Girls can marry into money. It's like hitting the lottery." My brother, Shanchuan, tried to intervene. "Suelan, let the kid choose for himself." "What do you know?" she snapped. "I'm doing this for his own good." She turned back to the doctor. "Doctor, tell me, isn't it true that girls have it easier? They don't have to buy a house. They don't have to buy a car. If they marry well, they're set for life." My nephew, Xiaosui, spoke up in a small, trembling voice. I feel like I'm a guy. "You're just a kid. What do you know?" Suelan dismissed him instantly. Then, she looked over at me. "Hey, you went to college. You're educated. Which one do you think we should choose?" Here it was. The exact moment from my past life. Back then, I spoke up for his autonomy and ended up splattered on the pavement. This time, I wasn't going to say a single word to save him. I smiled calmly and said, "I'll go with whatever my sister-in-law and the kid decide. This is a huge life decision. It's not my place to interfere." Suelan was annoyed. "What kind of talk is that? You're usually the one with all the big ideas. You guys need to make the call." I replied smoothly. "I'm just his aunt. I can't decide his entire future." The doctor urged us to hurry, saying they needed to map out the surgical plan. Suelan kept pressing, asking if he could easily pass as a girl, how much it would cost, and if they could keep it a secret from a future husband. The doctor looked uncomfortable. "Please don't treat this like a custom order. This is a serious medical decision. If you choose the female system, he will need lifelong hormone replacement therapy. And hiding a medical history like this in a marriage can lead to serious legal and ethical issues. From a psychological and identity standpoint, we highly recommend keeping the male system." "Oh, who cares about identity?" Suelan waved her hand dismissively. "I want to know what makes more financial sense. Raising a boy means buying him a house and a car, just so he can get a wife. The pressure is insane. Xiaosui, look at your dad. He worked himself to the bone his whole life just for a tiny apartment. Look at your aunt. She's in her 30s, single, working overtime every single day. And for what? If you're a pretty girl, you just find a rich guy, get a massive ring, and you're set. Would your mother ever hurt you?" Xiaosui looked miserable. "But Mom, I like playing basketball. All my friends in the dorm are guys. Can basketball pay the bills?" she countered. "Can you afford a house to get a wife? It's not too late to change. Listen to me. Become a girl. I'll even change your name to Zhaoxi. It sounds so elegant." Shanchuan tried one last time. "Let's listen to the doctor. If the kid doesn't want to, forget it." "Shut up, Shanchuan," Suelan yelled. "It's because of your spineless attitude that our son is like this. I'm making the executive decision. Doctor, we're going with the female system." Xiaosui froze. Slowly, his head dropped. I watched his expression carefully. It was the exact same face he made in my past life, except this time, without me fighting for him, he didn't even have a shred of hope left to struggle. The doctor stated that the patient had to sign the consent form themselves since he was of age. Suelan shoved the pen into his hand, promising to buy him a brand new iPhone the next day if he signed. Xiaosui gripped the pen, stared at the paper in dead silence for 10 seconds, and then slowly wrote his name. On the ride home, Suelan was still radiating tension, glaring at me. "The surgery is going to be over $8,000, and the post-op care will probably be another $3,000. What is wrong with you back there? Why didn't you back me up?" I put on a supportive face. "Sister-in-law, honestly, I think you're totally right. A daughter is a major asset. Boys are just a money pit these days, especially with how insane the real estate market is. Zhaoxi is going to have a much easier life. It's a blessing. Finally, you're talking some sense, Suilan beamed. My co-worker's daughter just married a guy whose family owns a factory. They got a luxury car and a massive payout just for the wedding. Hear that? Shanchuan? I'm going to raise Zhao Shi to be a high society lady. Shanchuan muttered under his breath about her being obsessed with money, but she snapped back that a son would drain their entire life savings just to get a bride, whereas a daughter would bring money into the family. Then she turned to me, asking me to keep an eye out for any wealthy eligible bachelors since I have a good corporate network. Of course, I replied. Zhao Shi has great features. With the right grooming, she'll do amazing. From the back seat, Zhao Shi looked at me with pleading eyes. Annie, do you really think this is a good idea? I looked back at her and smiled gently. Shi, your mom loves you the most. Whatever she plans is for your own good. For a girl, marrying well is much better than working hard. In my past life, I told him that being true to himself was what mattered most, and he hated me for ruining his chance at a luxury life. This time, I'm telling him that marrying rich is all that matters. I wonder if he'll hate me even more this time. Once we got home, Tilon excitedly dragged Zhao Shi away to go online shopping for women's clothes. Zhao Shi cast one last lingering look back at me as she was pulled into the bedroom. That night, I sat alone in my living room, staring at my laptop screen. The surgery was scheduled for next week. In my past life, I spent this exact week staying up all night, printing out medical journals, begging my sister-in-law to listen to science, and encouraging my nephew to be brave. And my reward, a cold plunge off a rooftop. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. It was my mother. Nguyen, my mom's voice sounded worried over the speaker. Is your sister-in-law seriously going through with that surgery? He's a perfectly healthy boy. Mom, Suilan just wants the kid to have an easier life in the future, I said smoothly. Easier? It's a major surgery. Why didn't you stop her? Would it have worked? I asked. You know how stubborn she is. Besides, what if she actually marries into a wealthy family and lives in luxury? If I block it now, I'm just the villain who ruined her future. They'd resent me forever. But does the kid even want this? My mom sighed. She signed the consent form herself, Mom. She's 22. She has to take responsibility for her own choices. My mom sighed heavily. How can you be so cold-blooded? That's your own nephew. I took a deep breath. Mom, last year when the government compensated us for the family property, I said we should divide it legally, and you called me cold-blooded. This time, I keep my mouth shut, and you still call me cold-blooded. What exactly do you want me to do? I'm just stressed out, she muttered. I get it, but they chose this path themselves. Mom, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I hung up the phone and opened a real estate website. In my past life, I saved up every penny to help my nephew buy an apartment, and that financial security only gave him the leverage to destroy me. This life, I'm looking out for myself. There's a new development in the tech district where a subway line is opening next year. The price is reasonable, and the down payment is about $40,000. My savings can cover it if I take out a small personal loan. Just then, my phone buzzed again. It was a voice note from Suilan. Hey, look at this designer dress I found for Shi. It's on sale for $600. Do you think I should sign her up for an etiquette class after the surgery? I heard old money families care a lot about that. I typed back immediately. The color matches her skin tone perfectly, and definitely sign her up for the etiquette class. Investing in yourself is key. Suilan replied instantly, ecstatic, right? You always have the best eye for these things. Oh, by the way, we're short about $3,000 for the surgery fee. Can you lend it to me for now? I smiled at my screen and typed my response. Sister-in-law, I actually just put a down payment on a condo tonight, so my funds are totally locked up. But definitely don't skimp on Shishi's surgery. Think of it as an investment. In the future, and you'll get twice the amount back in the wedding payout later. I texted back. Suilan replied instantly. Buying a house. You're a woman. Why are you buying a house? Whatever, forget it. I'll go ask your brother to scramble the cash together. Here we go again. In my past life, I was the one who dug into my own pockets to pay for the surgery fee, and all I got in return was a careless, well, it's her duty as an aunt. This time, I didn't give them a single dime, and instead, I got criticized for being a woman buying property. Truly hilarious. I didn't bother replying to Suilan's messages after that. Instead, I kept browsing real estate listings and bookmarked 3 great properties. 3 days later, we had a family gathering. 7 or 8 relatives were sitting around the living room, whispering to each other. Suilan, are you seriously going through with the surgery for Zhao Shi? One of the aunts asked. Of course we are, Suilan declared proudly. Next Wednesday. And let me tell you all right now, stop calling her Zhao. Her name is Zhao Shi. But does the kid actually want this? I heard surgeries like that can be. Why wouldn't she want it? Our she is very understanding, Suilan interrupted. Then she shouted toward the back room. Shi, come out and greet your aunts. When Zhao Shi walked out, Suilan immediately turned to the relatives, continuing her pitch. You guys just don't get it. This is a strategic investment. Shi, Tell them. Do you want to take those classes or not? Mom, I think. Xiaoxi started, looking completely overwhelmed. One of the aunts chimed in, echoing Suelan's talking points. Shishi, your mom is doing all of this for your own good. Work hard now, and you can skip 20 years of struggling later in life. Xiaoxi's shoulders slumped. Yeah, I'll listen to Mom. Sitting in the corner, a couple of my cousins leaned in closer to me, whispering quietly. Hey, Nguyen is acting kind of strange lately, right? She's just nodding along and hyping Suelan up. She's probably completely checked out after how the family treated her during the property split last year. It froze her heart. Suelan was so completely immersed in her grand blueprints for the future that she didn't hear a single word of their murmuring. It's settled then, she announced. The etiquette classes, an MBA course, a luxury spa membership. We're signing up for all of it. Shishi, your mother is absolutely going to turn you into a high society billionaire's wife. I smiled quietly to myself. In my past life, when I told them not to put so much pressure on the kid, I was cursed out and told it was easy for me to talk because it wasn't my child. This life, since I'm telling you to go all out, go ahead and drain your entire life savings on this gamble. This isn't passive-aggressive sabotage. This is full, unconditional support for your every decision. I looked up from my phone and caught my nephew's completely lost and confused eyes staring at me. Good luck, Shishi, I said with a cheerful smile. Suddenly, Xiaoxi spoke up, and the entire living room went dead silent. Annie, didn't you used to tell me that the most important thing in life is to be true to yourself? I didn't skip a beat. That was just your aunt being young and naive. I understand how the world works now, and practical reality is what actually matters. Look at me. I stayed true to myself, and I'm just breaking my back working every single day. What good did it do me? Suelan jumped right in. Exactly. Shishi, don't listen to those empty, idealistic ideas. Material security is the only thing that's real. I looked at Xiaoxi's defeated face. See? If you can't even stand up and fight for yourself, why on earth would you expect someone else to stand up and fight for you? Soon enough, the day of the surgery arrived. I happened to be checking out a property near the hospital, so I decided to drop by the waiting room. Suelan was pacing back and forth nervously. Why aren't they out yet? It's been 3 hours. Don't worry, sister-in-law, I said soothingly. Major surgeries take time. Nguyen, you don't think anything will go wrong, do you? What if? This is a top-tier hospital, and the lead surgeon is a renowned expert. Nothing will go wrong, so just relax. Once Shishi marries Rich, you'll be set for life, just waiting to enjoy your luxury. Right. You're right, Suelan said, nodding frantically. A few moments later, the surgical light finally turned off, and the doctor stepped out of the operating room. The surgery was a success. The patient is still under anesthesia and needs to be monitored closely for the next 6 hours. Suelan immediately rushed forward. Doctor, can she still get married and have kids in the future? Will it affect her finding a partner? The doctor looked at her seriously. Her physiological functions will be maintained, but she will require long-term hormone therapy. More importantly, the patient's psychological state is critical right now. We highly recommend post-operative psychological counseling. Counseling for what? Suelan scoffed. She's going to be thrilled. Suelan anxiously peered down the hallway as the nurses rolled the gurney out. I stood right by the side, watching the whole thing unfold. Shishi, mommy's right here. Suelan cried out. In my past life, at this exact moment, I held his hand tightly and told him, don't be afraid, your aunt is right here with you. But this life, sister-in-law, I actually have some urgent business to take care of, so I have to run. I need to finalize the paperwork for my house, I said, stepping back. Go ahead. Go ahead. Suelan waved me off. Oh, by the way, where did you buy that place anyway? How big is it? Just a small 800-square-foot condo out in the New Tech District. Suelan rolled her eyes. Ugh, that middle-of-nowhere wasteland. You really should have just lent that money to me, so I could invest it in Shishi. Yes, of course. My investment vision could never match yours, sister-in-law. I'm taking off now. At the very end of the hospital corridor, I stopped for a brief second and looked back over my shoulder. Xiaoxi, no. Xiaoxi, you were the one who signed that consent form with your own hands. This life, I didn't offer a single word of warning, and I didn't stand in your way for a single second. I am truly fascinated to see just how far you and your mother can walk down this golden path to high society that you both craved so desperately. Right then, my phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a text from the real estate agent. Hey, Nguyen, the owner of that other condo just agreed to drop the price by $10,000. Can you come sign the papers today? I replied immediately. I'm heading over right now. Wire transfer, full cash payment. The absolute best part about being reborn is realization. It lets you see clearly that some people are simply not worth wasting a single breath on. 2 years flew by after Xiaoxi's surgery. It was another weekend family gathering, and the house was packed with aunts, uncles, and cousins. Zhao Shi was sitting right in the center of the living room, wearing a pastel pink dress, surrounded by a crowd of relatives. Look at how gorgeous our she has become, Suelon bragged, gesturing to her daughter. We spent nearly $10,000 just on skincare and beauty treatments over the last 2 years. Tell me, was it worth it or what? One of the aunts squinted slightly. She definitely looks different, but how come she never smiles anymore? Zhao Shi looked down, her voice barely a whisper. Mom, oh, please, she's a lady now, Suelon interrupted smoothly. It's called being poised and elegant. High society, men love women who are reserved and dignified. Suelon then turned her gaze toward me. Hey, Nguyen, you know so many corporate executives through your job. Why don't you introduce a few eligible bachelors to our she? I smiled politely. The people I know are just ordinary corporate workers, middle management at best. Besides, she has very high standards. She'd never look twice at the guys in my company, making 4 or 5,000 a month. 4 or 5,000? Absolutely not. Suelon chimed in loudly. Our she is destined to be a billionaire's wife. Her future husband needs to make at least a couple $100,000 a year. My brother, Shanchuan, muttered from the corner. Can you just lower your voice a bit? What? What did I say wrong? Suelon snapped. A woman's prime years are short. If we don't lock someone down now, who's going to want her when she's 30? Zhao Shi's expression darkened even further. Here we go again. You say the exact same thing every single time. Right at that moment, the doorbell rang. I stood up to answer it. When I opened the door, a man who looked to be in his late 40s was standing on the porch, holding an elegant gift box. Hello. Is Miss Zhao Shi home? My name is Ken Lin. Mr. Lin. Oh my goodness, what a pleasant surprise. Please come inside. She, hurry up and come over here. Suelon practically squealed with excitement. Suelon practically dragged Ken Lin over to the sofa, seating him right in the prime center spot, her eyes constantly darting over to gauge Zhao Shi's reaction. I had the pleasure of meeting Miss Zhao at a charity gala last month, Ken Lin explained smoothly, setting the gift down. I happened to be passing through the neighborhood today, so I thought I'd take the liberty of dropping by for a quick visit. Not a liberty at all. We are thrilled to have you. Suelon beamed. Mr. Lin, what line of work did you say you were in again? I'm in building materials and supply manufacturing. Just a small business, he replied modestly. I got divorced last year, and I have a 10-year-old son. I can tell Miss Zhao has a very gentle spirit. I'm sure she'd be wonderful with children. Zhao Shi froze. Me? Good with kids. Suelon cut in instantly, completely overriding her. Oh, our she absolutely adores children. By the way, Mr. Lin, where are you currently living? I have a 4,000 square foot house in the gated suburbs. I drive 3 cars, and my company's annual revenue isn't huge, just around 4 or 5 million. Oh wow. Suelon's eyes practically turned into dollar signs. She nudged her daughter hard. Hurry up, she. Go pour some tea for Mr. Lin. I watched the scene unfold from the kitchen doorway. A divorced guy in his late 40s with a kid. My sister-in-law really swallowed the bait hook, line, and sinker. Sure, the guy was a bit up there in age, but realistically, young, wealthy trust fund bachelors aren't looking to rush into marriage with a girl like her anyway. An established, successful older man like Ken Lin at least knows how to provide a luxurious lifestyle. Exactly. Older men know how to take care of a woman. I chimed in supportively. See, she? What's wrong with a second marriage? The kid is already grown up, so you don't even have to go through the painful agony of childbirth. Zhao Shi shot me a look of pure misery. Mom. Ken Lin checked his luxury watch and stood up. I actually have an executive meeting to get to. Miss Zhao, would I have the honor of taking you out to dinner next week? The moment the front door closed behind Ken Lin, I barely had time to turn around before Zhao Shi erupted into complaints, turning sharply on her mother. Mom, he is 23 years older than me. His son is literally 10 years old. What's wrong with 23 years older? Suelon fired back instantly. The man is loaded. If you marry him, you'll be living in a mansion and driving luxury sports cars. Look at your aunt, Suelon continued, her voice full of judgment. She's 35, single, working late every single night just to pay off a mortgage. Is it the kind of miserable life you want? Shanchuan mumbled from his seat. If the kid doesn't want to do it, just drop it. You shut your mouth. Suelon barked at him. It's because you're a complete failure that our daughter has to hunt for her own opportunities. Let me tell you right now, Zhao Shi, you better dress up next weekend, and if you dare show any attitude, you'll be incredibly sorry. I stepped in smoothly to calm her down. Sister-in-law, take a deep breath. She, your mom really is doing this for your own good. Do you have any idea how brutal the competition is for young girls these days? Tons of women would throw themselves at a guy with Mr. Lin's financial status. You're incredibly lucky he noticed you. Zhao Shi looked at me, completely vulnerable. Auntie, do you really think so too? Honestly, I'm jealous. I lied with a warm smile. If someone introduced a guy like that to me, I would have said yes in a heartbeat. A woman's youth only lasts a few golden years. Hear that? Even your aunt says so. Suelon cheered. Zhaoxi looked down, her resolve crumbling. Even Annie thinks so. Maybe I really am just overthinking it. But marrying him means I instantly become a stepmother. What's wrong with being a stepmother? Suelon countered. You don't have to suffer through childbirth. You get a grown son handed to you, and down the road, all of that family wealth will belong to our Shishi anyway. My sister-in-law makes a great point, I added, nodding in complete agreement. 2 weeks later, Ken Lin, Zhaoxi, and Solon were sitting together at a high-end, exclusive French restaurant. Ken Lin cut right to the chase over dinner. After spending the last 2 weeks getting to know Miss Zhao, I think we are a perfect match. I'll be direct. I want to marry her. Let's talk about the wedding payout. What's the custom for your family? Suelon leaned in. Well, Mr. Lin, you're a very straightforward man. For a girl like our Shishi, who is completely pure. $50,000 cash. Ken Lin interrupted smoothly. I will cover the entire wedding budget. She moves into my mansion right after, and I'll give her a $3,000 monthly allowance for personal spending. $50,000. Suelon's face dropped slightly. Mr. Lin, our Shishi is a wonderful, educated young lady. Ken Lin shrugged, totally unbothered. If you think it's too low, we can just forget the whole thing. No. Mr. Lin, let's keep talking. Suelon pleaded, quickly changing her tune. But the moment we got back home that night, Suelon started pacing the living room, venting her frustration. $50,000? Is he trying to hand out charity to a beggar? We spent way more than that just grooming Shishi over the last 2 years. Shanchuan sighed. That's plenty. The man already has a massive house and multiple luxury cars. What do you know? Suelon snapped. I did my homework. Ken Lin's ex-wife got a cool $1 million in their divorce settlement. Why should our Shishi settle for a measly 50 grand? Zhaoxi spoke up, her voice trembling. Mom, I don't want to marry him anymore. You are marrying him, Suelon yelled. You are 25 years old. If you drag this out a few more years, nobody will even offer $50 for you. Right then, the front door opened, and I walked in carrying a thick legal folder. Hey everyone, what's going on? Nguyen, you need to judge this. Suelon complained immediately. Ken Lin is only offering a $50,000 wedding payout. I took off my coat and sat down. $50,000 is a bit on the lower side for a guy like him. But I did hear from some industry contacts that Mr. Lin's company has a lot of capital tied up in a major suburban construction project right now. His cash flow is a bit tight. Suelon's eyes widened. Tight cash flow. Yeah, I nodded. That's probably why he's in such a rush to get married. To bring some good luck and prestige back to his family name. Of course, sister-in-law. If you feel it's a bad deal, you can always wait. Shishi is still young. I paused, letting the silence hang for a moment before dropping the next piece of poison. Though, I did run into our neighbor, Mrs. Lee, today. She told me her daughter is 29 now. They had to drop their wedding payout expectations down to $30,000, and she still can't find a husband. Once a girl passes 28, her value in the dating market drops like a rock. 29, 30,000, Suelon repeated, panic visibly setting in. Exactly, I said, driving the point home. If you ask me, even if Mr. Lin's upfront cash is a little low, the long-term security is incredible. She gets to live in a mansion with a $3,000 monthly allowance. Look at me, I just earn a rigid corporate salary, and after my mortgage payment, I barely have enough left over for groceries. Zhaoxi looked terrified. Mom, maybe we should look around a bit more. Look around for what? Suelon shouted. We are locking in Ken Lin, but I am absolutely negotiating that payout up. Nguyen, you're educated and good with words. You come with me to negotiate. I immediately held up my hands. Oh, absolutely not, sister-in-law. This involves Shishi's lifelong happiness, so I need to stay completely out of it to avoid any conflict of interest. Besides, your negotiation skills are way better than mine. Didn't you argue the grocery store manager down to a discount last week? Suelon smirked, feeling flattered. Well, that's true. Shanchuan tried one last time. Suelon, if the kid is completely miserable, stop forcing her. Shanchuan, if I didn't hold this family together, we would have been on the streets years ago. Suelon erupted. You make a measly $800 a month. Do you have any idea how much it costs to raise these kids? Now we finally have a golden ticket to completely change our lives, and you want to drag us down. She turned back to her daughter. Shishi. I stood up, wanting to exit before the drama escalated. You guys figured out. I have some real estate documents to review in my room. But Shishi, just remember, older men are stable. Look at the girls who marry young, trust fund guys. They spend 24 hours a day worrying about affairs. It's exhausting. I went into my bedroom and shut the door. Outside, I could hear Suelon yelling. See? Even your aunt agrees. I'm doing this for your own good. Tomorrow I'm calling Ken Lin, and we are demanding at least $70,000. And then I heard Xiaoxi's broken voice. Maybe I really am just being dramatic. Even someone as smart as Andy is jealous of me. 3 days later, Xiaoxi asked me to meet her at a coffee shop. Auntie, Kin Lin agreed to 65,000, she said, staring blankly into her cup. The engagement party is next month. That's amazing news. Congratulations. I smiled warmly. But last night I had a dream, she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. I dreamed I was still Xiao Sui, and I was out on the court playing basketball with my boys. Annie, sometimes when I look in the mirror, I don't even recognize the person staring back at me. Are you finally starting to regret it? I thought. Too bad. There is absolutely no turning back now. You shouldn't say things like that anymore, I said out loud, using my most comforting, enabling voice. Look at how gorgeous you are. You have a shot at a life of pure luxury. Do you know how many girls would kill to be in your shoes? It's a dream. But Kin Lin, yesterday he made me sign a prenuptial agreement, she sobbed. The mansion remains entirely his premarital asset, and I had to legally guarantee that I would care for his son. Well, a prenup is a bit intense, I reasoned smoothly. But it makes sense, right? The man runs a massive business empire. He has to protect his assets. Annie, should I really go through with this? I'm only 25. I leaned across the table, putting on a deeply sincere expression. I'm going to speak to you straight from the heart. The single most important thing for a woman in this life is to marry the right man. Look at me. I'm 35, pulling all-nighters at the office, and my latest medical checkup showed a mountain of health issues. Just to pay off my mortgage, I can't even bring myself to buy a nice designer coat. But Auntie, your life seems so full and independent, she argued weakly. Independent? I scoffed. It's just survival. Last year, when my mom was hospitalized and I had to put down the medical deposit, my bank account was down to its last $1,000. If you marry Mr. Lin, will you ever have to stress about money again? Besides, if you back out now, do you really think your mother will let you? Your family drained their entire life savings to groom you over the last 2 years, and your dad's health is failing. Xiaoxi swallowed hard, completely trapped. I know things are hard at home. Exactly. So listening to your mother is the right choice. She built the perfect blueprint for you. You'll be a high society lady. You can financially support your parents, and they can finally retire in peace. That is what true family devotion looks like. Devotion, Xiaoxi repeated, her eyes going blank. Yes, I need to be a devoted daughter. I checked my watch and stood up quickly. Oh, I have to run. My landlord is meeting me to check out a property. Just remember what I said. Working hard will never compare to marrying well. Don't make the same mistake I did. Auntie, are you buying another house? Oh, no. My current lease is up, so I'm looking for a place closer to the office. But property prices are insanely high right now. I could never afford to buy. Anyway, I wish you all the happiness in the world. The second I stepped out of the coffee shop, the smile vanished from my face. The mortgage for my second investment property had just been approved. Closing was next week. A week later, after signing the final deed at the real estate office, I ran into Mrs. Zhang, a longtime neighbor who was browsing listings with a friend. Oh, Nguyen, it really is you, she called out. What brings you down here? I just picked up a small investment property, I said modestly. Mrs. Zhang's jaw dropped. Wow, prices in this development are up to $300 a square foot now. How big is it? Just a little 900 square foot 2-bedroom. It's easy to rent out. Took me years to scrape together the down payment. You have incredible vision, she praised. They're breaking ground on a new subway line right down the street. These values are going to skyrocket. Oh, by the way, I heard your nephew, your niece, is about to marry a massive tycoon. Yes, my sister-in-law arranged the whole thing. I heard the groom is 45 and divorced with a kid, Mrs. Zhang whispered. I smiled. Older men know how to provide. She is moving straight into a life of luxury. Unlike me, she won't have to break her back grinding for a living. True, Mrs. Zhang nodded. But Nguyen, look at you. You're doing amazing. This is your second property already. A few days later, Suelan's entire family showed up at my new place, completely uninvited, claiming they wanted to tour the property. Suelan walked through the rooms, her nose wrinkled in disgust. This is it. It's tiny. How much did this garbage cost you? About $250,000. I replied evenly. With a 30-year mortgage. 30 years. Suelan laughed mockingly. You'll be ready for retirement by the time you pay this off. When our she marries, a massive estate is already waiting for her. She will never have to suffer through this kind of financial slavery. Xiaoxi was standing near the window, tracing the windowsill. Auntie, it must feel amazing to own your own place, right? It's great. I lied, putting on a stressed expression. But the monthly payment eats up half my salary. Your mom is totally right. Why should a woman bother buying a house when marrying right gives you everything instantly? See? Even your aunt admits it. Suelan gloated, nudging her daughter. Then she turned back to me. Oh, by the way, Shishi's engagement party is next month, and you need to prepare a proper cash gift. Since she's going to be a high society elite, you can't look cheap as her aunt. Of course, I agreed smoothly. What amount do you think is appropriate? At least $1,000 cash, Suelon demanded. And since you work in corporate and have all those connections, we need the engagement party hosted at a 5-star luxury hotel. Help us get it booked. I sighed heavily, putting on a helpless face. Sister-in-law, 5-star hotels require a massive upfront holding deposit. Every single cent of my liquidity just went into the down payment for this condo. Suelon's face immediately darkened. Nguyen, that is incredibly selfish of you. She only gets engaged once in her entire life, and you, as her aunt, refuse to put in any effort. Shanchuan tried to pull her back. Suelon, come on. Nguyen just bought a house. It hasn't been easy for her. Easy? Please. Suelon scoffed loudly. Nobody forced her to act like some independent corporate boss. What's the point of buying this pathetic little apartment anyway? Men are terrified of marrying boss babe types like her. I just nodded along, keeping my face completely blank. Yes, you're absolutely right, sister-in-law. That's exactly why I'm so jealous of Shishi. Zhao, she looked like she couldn't stand being in the room for another second. Mom, let's just go back. I want to go pick out a dress for the engagement party. Right. We need to buy you a luxury designer brand. Suelon beamed, her bad mood vanishing instantly. Let's go, Mommy's taking you to the high-end mall downtown. As Suelon and Zhao, she walked out the door. Shanchuan lingered behind, lagging a few steps back. He looked at me with deep exhaustion in his eyes. Nguyen, Shishi was crying herself to sleep in her room last night. I looked at my brother, completely detached. Shanchuan, they chose this path for themselves. He stared at me for a long moment, a heavy sigh escaping his lips. I know, but whatever. Just make sure to take good care of yourself. He turned and slowly walked away, closing the door behind him. I stood alone in my brand new apartment, listening to the absolute silence, knowing that this time, the only person falling from a high place would be them. An hour later, Zhao, she was in a luxury store, trying on a designer dress that cost over $5,000. The sales associate beamed, telling her how stunning she looked and how it perfectly elevated her status. Zhao, she looked at the price tag. $5,000. Mom, Kin Lin said all of his high society friends are coming to the engagement party. I can't wear some cheap department store outfit and embarrass him. Buy it, Suelon declared. But my paycheck hasn't cleared yet this month. Put it on your credit card for now, and the second we get the wedding payout, I'll pay you back. Zhao, she frowned, looking at her phone. My credit limit only has about $1,500 left on it. Then go ask your aunt for the rest. Annie just bought that condo, remember? Suelon rolled her eyes, scoffing. Ugh, she did that on purpose. She could have bought a place at any time, but she just had to do it right now. Fine, just max out my card. At worst, we'll eat instant ramen for the next month. Zhao, she looked at her reflection in the mirror, dripping in luxury and covered in fine jewelry. It really is beautiful. This is exactly the kind of life I want. Suddenly, Zhaoxi's phone buzzed. It was a text message from Kin Lin. Did you pick out the dress? Send a picture so I can see. Oh, by the way, I just thought of something. We need to add a clause to the prenuptial agreement. If there are no children within 5 years, the wedding payout must be refunded in full. Zhao, she stared at the screen. That $5,000 dress suddenly felt like it was covered in sharp needles, stinging her skin. Her hand shook as she typed back a reply. The dress doesn't fit, and the wedding is off. And that exact moment was the turning point. Over the next 3 years, Zhao, she started going to luxury beauty clinics more and more frequently, becoming completely obsessed with getting the highest possible wedding payout. 3 years later, Zhao, she was sitting across from a high-end matchmaking consultant. 7 or 8 thick client profiles were spread out on the desk between them. Miss Zhao, these are the profiles of the gentlemen who meet your criteria this month, the consultant said professionally. But are you absolutely sure you won't consider widening your age requirements? High-quality men under the age of 40 usually look for partners who are around 25. Zhao, she snapped, her defensive walls going up instantly. Do I look old to you? I spend over $1,500 a month at luxury spas to maintain my youth. The consultant sighed gently. It's not a question of your appearance, Miss Zhao. It's fertility. Your profile states that your reproductive system is not fully developed, and you cannot conceive. That single detail automatically eliminates 90% of our top-tier clients. I can do IVF, Zhao, she argued, her voice rising. And who will cover the massive medical costs? Besides, the success rate is incredibly low at this stage. Miss Zhao, I highly suggest you look at these specific profiles instead. This gentleman is 48, a senior executive at a Fortune 500 company. His kids are already grown up and out of the house, and he has absolutely no expectation for you to have children. Zhao, she scoffed in disgust. He's balding, and his beer belly is even bigger than Kin Lin's. I refused to marry Kin Lin 3 years ago, And you expect me to settle for this now? The consultant's tone turned ice cold. Miss Zhao, you are 28 years old now. In the elite dating market, you are considered an older woman. Combined with your fertility issues, if I am being completely honest with you, your available options are extremely limited. I don't believe you. Zhao cried out. My mother told me that a girl with my looks deserves a man worth at least $10 million. The consultant stood up, closing the folders. Then I suggest you find another agency. Our $5,000 service fee is strictly non-refundable, as clearly stated in your contract. Have a nice day. The moment they walked out of the matchmaking agency, Suilan immediately dragged Zhao to a blind date she had set up with a 35-year-old corporate elite. Sitting across from her at the restaurant, the man tried to make polite conversation. So, Miss Zhao, what do you usually do in your free time? Flower arranging, traditional tea ceremonies, and occasionally visiting art galleries. Zhao recited smoothly. My mother says those hobbies build elegance and poise. I see. The man nodded slowly. But the matchmaker mentioned that you don't currently have a job. My mother says a woman doesn't need to work as long as she marries well. My duty after marriage will be to manage the household and raise the children. The man leaned back, a cynical smile on his face. And what exactly is your definition of marrying well? Zhao didn't hesitate. At least a suburban mansion, a minimum annual income of $200,000, a wedding payout of no less than $80,000 up front, full control of the family finances, and a monthly personal allowance of at least $5,000. The man chuckled, checking his luxury watch. Well, your demands are certainly specific. Miss Zhao, let me be completely blunt with you. A woman with your background does not match those requirements. Zhao gasped. What is that supposed to mean? I make over $300,000 a year, I own my home, and I drive a luxury car, he said coldly, standing up. Why on earth would I marry a woman who openly views me as a human ATM? Oh, and by the way, that Chanel outfit you're wearing is from last year's collection. A real high society billionaire's wife would never wear out-of-season clothes. He turned and walked away without looking back, leaving Zhao sitting entirely alone at the table. She stared blankly ahead, knowing that this date was just another total failure to add to the endless list. After a string of disastrous blind dates, Solon cornered me a week later, just as I was clocked out of work. Nguyen, you absolutely have to help us this time, she pleaded, grabbing my arm. I pulled away gently. Sister-in-law, what's wrong? Shi's latest date blew up in her face again. This time it was a prominent lawyer, and they were getting along great. But then his mother started digging around into our family history, and somehow she found out that she had major surgery back in the day. How could that information possibly leak out? I shrugged calmly. How should I know? It was probably a hospital data breach or something. Nguyen, you work in corporate. You know so many influential people. Can you use your connections to find out who leaked it and fix this? Sister-in-law, medical records are heavily protected by privacy laws. If there was a leak, you can sue the hospital. But let me ask you, did she ever try to be honest with the guy about her history? Honest? Suilan shrieked. Are you insane? If she tells him the truth, who would ever want her? But sister-in-law, if she gets married, the husband is going to find out eventually. And when that happens, by then, the deal is done, the papers are signed, and they'll just have to deal with it. Suilan snapped aggressively. Look, are you going to help your own niece or not? She's your flesh and blood. I sighed, putting on a stressed, overworked face. Sister-in-law, it's not that I don't want to help, I literally can't. My current corporate project is so intense that I'm pulling mandatory overtime every single night, and upper management is watching my every move. Plus, I have an appointment right now to sign a lease with a new tenant for one of my properties. I have to go. Suilan screamed at my back as I walked away. Zhao Nguyen, you're just going to sit there and watch your own niece become an old maid, aren't you? You heartless witch. I didn't even bother turning around. The rent from my third investment property was locked in now, which meant my monthly mortgage pressure was almost completely taken care of. It was definitely time to start looking into property number 4. A few days later, my brother Shanchuan was rushed to the hospital with a severe hypertensive crisis. Inside the chaotic ward, Zhao was sitting comfortably in a chair, completely glued to her smartphone. The doctor walked in, looking around sharply. Where is the primary family member? My mom went to the billing department to pay the entry fees. Zhao muttered without looking up. The patient has stage 3 hypertension, the doctor said gravely. He needs immediate inpatient observation. This is a result of long-term physical exhaustion and massive emotional stress. As his family, you need to start paying attention. Just then, Solon rushed into the room, clutching a stack of hospital invoices. How many days does he need to stay? How much is this going to cost per day? We need to keep him for at least 3 days for observation, the nurse replied. The initial deposit is $800, and the final total will depend on the diagnostic test results. $800. Suilan gasped, her voice cracking. We haven't even paid this month's mortgage yet. She turned sharply toward the hospital bed, glaring at Shanchuan. This is all your fault. I told you a million times to stop taking those brutal overtime shifts at that garbage factory, but you just had to chase those extra pennies. Shanchuan groaned weakly from the bed. If I didn't take the overtime shifts, where on earth would we get the money to pay for she's luxury beauty clinic treatments every month? Zhao Shi whined from her chair. Mom, I'm scheduled for my cosmetic filler injections next month. My friends told me the new luxury clinic downtown has the absolute best results. Injections. That's all you ever care about. Suelon snapped at her daughter. Your father is literally lying in a hospital bed. Then, a sharp light hit Suelon's eyes. Wait, let's go find Zhao Nguyen. She's loaded, right? Later that afternoon, Suelon showed up at the doorstep of my newest condo, holding a cheap basket of fruit. Zhao Shi dragged her feet behind her, looking completely annoyed to be there. Sister-in-law, how is Shanchuan doing? I asked, letting them in. He's hospitalized with severe high blood pressure. Suelon sighed heavily, putting on a tragic act. Nguyen, I'm truly at the end of my rope here. Your brother's factory is doing terrible. My monthly salary was only $500 this time, and she desperately needs to pay her beauty clinic dues. Don't panic, sister-in-law. My brother's health is the top priority. What exactly do you need me to do? Lend us $15,000 cash, Suelon said quickly. Your brother needs his medical bills covered, and she needs to go to South Korea for plastic surgery. I did a ton of research. Their medical technology is top-notch. Once she gets some facial refinements done over there, she's guaranteed to catch a wealthy husband. Plastic surgery? I gasped, pretending to be shocked. Yes, Suelon insisted. She is 29 years old now. If we drag this out another year, she's going to be completely worthless on the market. If we make her more beautiful, we can demand an even higher wedding payout. Zhao Shi crossed her arms, frowning deeply. Mom, I don't want to go to South Korea. You shut your mouth, Suelon barked. She turned back to me, her eyes narrowing. Nguyen, you own multiple rental properties bringing in cash every single month, and your corporate salary is massive. $15,000 is pocket change to someone like you, right? I let out a long, heavy sigh, looking deeply apologetic. Sister-in-law, I actually purchased my fourth investment property 6 months ago. My monthly mortgage payments are up to nearly $3,000. The rent from the other places barely covers the loans, and every single dollar of my corporate salary goes straight into keeping my head above water. To be completely honest with you, I had to put my own expenses on a credit card payment plan this month. Suelon's jaw dropped. A fourth property? When did you buy that? 6 months ago, in the new luxury development downtown. I thought it was a great investment, but now all my capital is completely tied up. Sister-in-law, if I had the cash, I would absolutely lend it to you. But since she is planning to get married soon anyway, shouldn't you just ask the future groom for the money? The word seemed to trigger something explosive inside Zhao Shi. Future groom, she screamed, finally breaking down. I have absolutely had it. Mom, it's been 3 brutal years. I've been on over 30 blind dates. Every single one of them is either a balding old man or a toxic divorcee with baggage. That tycoon you set me up with last week was 53 years old. He is older than my own father. Suelon glared right back at her. What's wrong with 53? The man is worth over $3 million. I don't care if he's worth $3 million. Zhao Shi shrieked, tears streaming down her face. He demanded I sign a strict prenup that leaves me with zero financial protection, and he expects me to act as a full-time, unpaid nurse for his mother who has advanced Alzheimer's. You'll still marry him, Suelon yelled over her. You are 29 years old. If you don't lock him down right now, you're going to die alone. Sister-in-law, please calm down, I said softly, hiding the massive smirk threatening to break across my face. Suelon spun around, pointing a finger directly at me. And you, Zhao Nguyen, stop acting so fake and self-righteous. If you had just stood up for Xiao Sui back in that hospital room and stopped me from changing him, he would still be a grown man today. He could be out there working a corporate job and bringing in real money for this family. There it is, I thought. She finally spoke the truth. I looked her dead in the eye, my voice dropping all the fake warmth. Sister-in-law, who exactly signed that surgical consent form with her own hands? And who was the one constantly screaming that a woman's only destiny is to marry into wealth? Who was the one who rejected every single decent man because the wedding payout wasn't high enough? Who forced she to quit her job and stay locked up at home just to focus on trapping a billionaire? Ew, you're just throwing the past in my face. Suelon stuttered, her face turning bright red. Suddenly, the front door of my condo slammed open. Shanchuan walked straight into the living room, still wearing his faded hospital wristband and holding a plastic bag of prescription medications. Suelon, Shanchuan said, his voice trembling with a mixture of rage and complete heartbreak. I stood outside and heard every single word. Suelon spun around, losing all her aggression instantly. Shanchuan, Why aren't you at the hospital? I lay awake in that hospital bed all night long, wondering how on earth my family turned into this, he said, tears finally spilling over his eyes. A perfectly healthy son, and you forced him to become neither a man nor a woman. Now he can't even find a partner. He spends all day complaining. He doesn't lift a finger to do a single chore around the house. And he claims working a real job is too exhausting. What kind of monster did you raise him to be? She flinched in her chair, her voice breaking. Dad, you think I'm a monster? Suelon snapped back into her usual defensive rage. Shanchuan, have you completely lost your mind? Yes, I am losing my mind. I'm being driven insane by both of you. Shanchuan roared. It was all you, Suelon. Every single bit of this was your grand idea. You kept screaming that raising a daughter was like hitting the jackpot. Well, look around. The bank just went bankrupt. Where's the money? Where's the massive wedding payout? Where's the luxury life? Oh, so now you're blaming me? Suelon shrieked. When we were in that hospital room years ago, didn't you both sign off on the surgery? My mom said raising a girl was easier. Did any of you stand up and stop me? Did his aunt stop me? No. She didn't say a single word either. I stood up slowly, completely calm. Yes, I didn't stop you. Because that was your life and your choice to make. I did all of this for the sake of this family. Suelon sobbed, playing the victim. I just wanted us to live a good life. Shanchuan looked at her with pure disgust. I want a divorce, Suelon. I can't do this anymore. He turned around and slammed the door behind him. I immediately ran out into the hallway after him, finding him leaning heavily against the corridor wall, sobbing uncontrollably. Shanchuan, I said gently, come stay at my place. He wiped his face, shaking his head. No, Nguyen. I'm going back to our parents' old house. Seeing you doing so well for yourself, it brings me peace. Just look out for yourself and stop worrying about us. A month passed after Shanchuan packed his bags and moved out. But Suelon was still acting like a woman completely possessed, forcing Zhao to go on an endless parade of blind dates. This one has to work out, Suelon insisted, shoving a new profile into her daughter's hands. He's 32. He owns his own business, and he's never been married. I had to pull every single string in my corporate network just to secure this dinner date for you. Zhao looked exhausted, completely drained of life. Mom, I don't want to go on these dates anymore. I just want to go out and find a regular job. A job? Suelon laughed mockingly. What on earth could you even do? Wait tables for $500 a month. Is that going to pay for your luxury skincare serums? Listen to me. Tomorrow night at dinner, you're going to get him drunk, bring him back to a hotel room, and seal the deal. Once you sleep together, he won't be able to back out. Zhaoxi's eyes widened in horror. Mom, that's literally entrapment. It's survival. Suelon snapped. Once you're together, he has to take responsibility. We can demand at least $150,000 for the wedding payout. Your father's hospital bills, our backlog mortgage, my maxed out credit cards. Everything is riding on this. I'm not going, Zhaoxi whispered. You are going whether you like it or not. Do you have any idea how much debt you dragged this family into? The debt collectors are calling my phone 24 hours a day. The very next morning inside a high-end hotel room, the plan completely blew up. Zhaoxi was curled up in the corner of the bed, her clothes completely disheveled, weeping in terror while the man was pacing the room on his phone. Mom, we have a massive emergency, the man yelled into his receiver. She's a man, not a woman. She has, down there. I was way too drunk last night to notice, but I just woke up and saw everything. You lied to me. You're a fraud. Zhaoxi sobbed, covering her face. I'm not a fraud. I had a medical procedure done years ago to keep the female system. You are a disgusting scammer. Your entire family colluded to trap me into a marriage, didn't you? All for a wedding payout. 150 grand. Let me tell you something right now. I am not giving you a single penny, and I'm calling the police to file fraud charges. Zhaoxi panicked, begging through her tears. Please don't. Please. My mother forced me to do this. The man looked at her with pure disdain. Your mother forced you? You are 29 years old. Do you not possess a single brain cell to think for yourself? Get out. Get out of my sight right now. By noon the very next day, the man showed up at Suelon's neighborhood, bringing his furious parents and two massive, muscular relatives to kick down the front door. Suelon, get your lying family out here right now, the man roared, drawing a massive crowd of neighbors. Suelon opened the door, trying to save face. Oh, hello, future in-laws. Who are you calling in-laws? The man's mother shrieked, turning to face the growing crowd of onlookers. Everyone listen to me. This family is running a marriage scam. Their daughter used to be a biological male. They tricked my son into a hotel room just to blackmail him for $150,000. They tried to trap him, and if he hadn't discovered the truth this morning, his entire life would be ruined. No, that's not true. Suelon yelled frantically, her hands shaking. She is a real girl. The man slammed a folder of papers against the doorframe. I have the medical history, right here. You had a surgical procedure done years ago, just to use her body as a scam to extort money from successful men, didn't you? Zhao Shi pushed past her mother, sobbing hysterically in front of the whole neighborhood. I didn't want to do it. I didn't mean to. My mother forced me to do everything. Zhao Shi, what on earth are you saying? Suilan screamed, but it was too late. The entire crowd heard the confession. The neighbors began whispering, pointing fingers, and shouting insults at them. They raised professional scammers in that house. Who would ever dare marry into that toxic family? Looking at the sea of disgusted faces and hearing the brutal mockery, Suilan's eyes rolled back. Her vision went entirely black, and she collapsed flat onto the pavement, completely unconscious. Within days, the scandal became the single biggest piece of gossip in the city. You couldn't walk down the street without hearing about it. Did you hear about the Zhao family? Their daughter used to be a boy. No wonder they demanded such an insane wedding payout. It was a total scam. I heard Suilan was obsessed with trapping a billionaire, and now her husband is divorcing her, and the kid is too terrified to even step outside the house. Honestly, it's all Suilan's doing. She ruined that poor kid. Meanwhile, my name was brought up in a completely different light. Look at Nguyen though. She's incredibly successful. Owns 3 properties already, entirely built on her own hard work. Yeah, she's the smart one. A few weeks later, my mother celebrated her milestone 70th birthday. We booked a massive banquet hall with 5 full tables of family and relatives. I was seated right at the head table, directly next to my mother. Nguyen is truly the pride of our family now. One of my aunts beamed, pouring me a glass of wine. 3 properties. And I heard you just got promoted to director of your corporate job? I smiled modestly. Just assistant director, actually. And the properties are heavily mortgaged, so the financial pressure is pretty intense. Oh, stop being so humble, a cousin chimed in. Your monthly rental income alone must be $4,000 or $5,000. That's more than my entire salary for 6 months. You had such incredible vision to invest in real estate early. My mom smiled softly, patting my hand. Nguyen has always been a hard worker. I just worry about your brother. He's still living alone in that old house. Don't worry, Mom. I reassured her gently. I hired a professional nurse to check on Shanchuan every week and handle the cleaning. He's doing much better. Suddenly, the heavy double doors of the banquet hall swung open. A collective hush fell over the room. It was Suilan. Even after the entire city found out about the marriage scam, and rumors spread that Zhao Shi was suffering from severe clinical depression and crying all day, Suilan still had the nerve to show up. She poured herself a glass of wine, her hands trembling slightly, and walked straight over to our head table. Happy birthday, Mom. May you live a long and healthy life, Suilan said, her voice hollow. Then, she turned her gaze directly onto me, raising her glass. Nguyen, I want to propose a toast to you. You're living such a beautiful, perfect life now. I didn't stand up. I just looked at her calmly. Go ahead and take a seat, sister-in-law. She didn't sit. She just stared at me, her eyes bloodshot and full of resentment. Did you know? Did you know this was going to happen to us all along? Know what? I asked smoothly. Know that she would never find a husband. Know that our entire family would be completely destroyed and humiliated like this. I set my glass down with a soft click. Sister-in-law, every single step of this path was chosen by you. Years ago in that hospital room, you said turning him into a girl would make life easier, and I said I'd support whatever you decided. Over the years, you kept repeating that a woman's hard work means nothing compared to marrying rich, and I told you that you were totally right. You demanded an astronomical wedding payout, and I said it was completely justified. Tell me, which word did I ever say to contradict you? Suilan's face twisted in fury. You were maliciously enabling me. You played along just to watch me fail. Enabling you? I chuckled softly, my tone turning sharp as steel. Every single opinion I expressed was just echoing your own thoughts. Did you expect me to stop you? I am her aunt, not her parent. Over the last 10 years, I actually tried to intervene 3 separate times. I told Shishi to learn a real professional skill, and you said a high society lady doesn't need to work. I told her to find a corporate job, and you said it would lower her market value. I told her to lower her insane financial demands, and you screamed that your daughter deserved a multimillionaire. I leaned in closer, my voice dropping to a whisper that cut through the silent room. And most importantly, in my past life, I did stop you. I begged you to listen to science and let him remain a man. And what happened? He couldn't find a wife, he couldn't get a good job, and you spent 24 hours a day whispering poison into his ear, telling him it was all his aunt's fault. On his 30th birthday, he tricked me into going up to the 23rd floor of my office building and pushed me right off the roof. This life, I didn't dare stand in your way. Because I value my life. Suilan froze, her face turning pale as a ghost. Nguyen, my mom looked at me, completely stunned. Nguyen, what are you talking about? I turned back to my mother, my expression softening. Mom, don't worry about it. It's all in the past. I stood up, raising my glass to Suilan one last time. I'll drink this toast with you, sister-in-law, because you taught me the single most valuable lesson of my life. Never interfere in another person's destiny, even when you see them sprinting full speed into a burning fire. Everyone, please enjoy the rest of your dinner. I have a real estate investment meeting to attend. I grabbed my coat and walked out of the banquet hall, completely free. As I drove down the neon-lit highway, my dashboard console buzzed. It was my mother calling. I hit the speaker button. Mom. Nguyen, what you said back there, was it real? Her voice cracked with emotion. Did he really push you? Mom, it's completely over now, I said calmly. Just think of it as a terrible nightmare I woke up from. But he was your own nephew, she sobbed. And Suelon, how could they be so utterly cruel and monstrous? Mom, human nature cannot survive the test of pure greed, especially when it's mixed with bitter regret. Go get some rest, and stop stressing over it. I hung up the phone and pulled my car into a quiet parking lot. Just as I stepped out into the cool night air, a dark shadow stepped out from behind a pillar, blocking my path. It was Xiaoxi. She looked pale, hollowed out, and completely broken. Auntie, she whispered, her voice cracking. I needed to see you. I leaned against my car door, completely unfazed. What do you want, Shishi? I just want to know, what happened to me in your past life? What was my life like? I looked at her, a cold breeze blowing between us. Does it really matter? Knowing the truth isn't going to change the reality you're living in right now. I just need to know, she cried out, tears spilling over her cheeks. I need to know if I had remained a man, if my life would have been different, would I have been happy? I stared at her for a long moment before answering. In my past life, you graduated from college, but the job market was brutal and your career stalled out. Every single blind date you went on rejected you because you couldn't afford a house or a car. Every single day, your mother would scream at you, pointing at the neighbor's daughters who brought home massive wedding payouts. She told you that if it wasn't for your aunt's big mouth stopping the surgery, you would be living in a mansion as a wealthy billionaire's wife. You grew to deeply resent me. You blamed the economy. You blamed society. And ultimately, you decided that I was the villain who stole your ticket to an easy life. On your 30th birthday, you smiled, told me you forgave everything, and invited me out to dinner. Then, you lured me to the rooftop of my office building. Xiaoxi's eyes widened in absolute horror as the realization hit her. So you see, Shishi, I said, my voice echoing in the quiet lot. No matter which path you chose in this life, you were always destined to hate me. You would either hate me for failing to stop you, or hate me for standing in your way. You never want a good life. You just wanted a convenient scapegoat to blame for your own failures. Xiaoxi fell to her knees on the asphalt, clutching her head as she sobbed. Then what am I supposed to do now? Annie, what am I even supposed to be? I looked down at her one last time, completely detached, before turning around to unlock my car. In my past life, by this exact date, I was already dead and buried in the ground. This life, you figured out yourself. I looked down at her, sobbing on the asphalt. Watching her reach this absolute rock bottom, I couldn't even tell if I felt a sense of dark satisfaction or just deep sorrow. There's nobody else here, I said, my voice quiet in the night. It's just you and me. Tell me the truth. Do you want me to call you Xiaoxi? Or do you want me to call you Xiaosui? She buried her face in her hands, her voice breaking completely. I don't know anymore. I reached into my designer purse, pulled out a small notepad, and quickly jotted down an address and a phone number. This is the address to our family's old house, I said, handing the slip of paper to her along with $500 in cash. And this is your dad's new cell phone number. I bought the phone and set up his plan for him last month. The choice is entirely yours now. She stared at the money and the paper, her eyes wide with confusion. Auntie, why are you doing this for me? After how horribly we treated you, why would you help me? I looked at her, completely at peace. I'm not helping you. I'm just giving some closure to the person I used to be in my past life, the person standing on that rooftop who was never given a second chance. 3 months later, I walked into a local mental health clinic for a routine checkup. As I approached the desk, a familiar figure caught my eye. Shishi, you're working here? I asked, surprised. She looked up and offered a genuine, soft smile. Hey, Annie. Yeah, I'm working as the front desk receptionist and administrative assistant. That's wonderful, I said, feeling a genuine spark of warmth. How is your dad doing? He's still living at the old house. His blood pressure has completely stabilized now. She paused, her eyes shining with hope. Annie, I used the money you gave me to enroll in night classes for a computer tech certification. My program starts next month. That is amazing, I replied. Keep going. A year flew by, and soon it was New Year's Eve. I was sitting comfortably on the balcony of my penthouse condo, watching the city fireworks, when my phone lit up with a text message. It was a family photo sent by my mother. Nguyen, look at your brother and Xiaosui. My mom's text read. Xiaosui got a job as a logistics dispatcher at a shipping firm. He's doing incredible, and they just promoted him to team leader. For the first time in years, The house actually feels happy for the holidays. Did you get a chance to eat dinner by yourself tonight? I smiled, typing back a quick reply. I did, Mom. Happy New Year. Going through a rebirth taught me that the biggest cost of a second chance isn't knowing the future. It's the absolute clarity of staying awake. I realized that I couldn't save anyone else in this world. I could only save myself. I completely stopped trying to force people to change their paths. Instead, I just focused on building my own fortress and keeping my own light burning bright. Some people might call that selfish, but to me, it was safe.